Around 300,000 years ago, modern humans evolved in Africa. The local climate was heavily fluctuating, cycling between lush forests and harsh, dry periods. And for hundreds of thousands of years, our ancestors remained within the boundaries of this single continent. This map tracks early human migration patterns, and it reveals a series of failures. Starting around 190,000 years ago, multiple waves of humans pushed out of Africa. Every one of these initial groups vanished, unable to withstand the external conditions beyond the tropics. Then, between 70,000 and 50,000 years ago, a single group managed to break the pattern. This population successfully pushed past the geographical barriers of the continent, expanding into the Middle East and deep into Eurasia. They were walking into a planetary freeze. Massive ice sheets covered Scandinavia, and frozen tundra stretched almost all the way to the Mediterranean. For the first time, human survival was no longer a matter of gathering food in a familiar climate. It was an active, high-stakes struggle against a freezing planet that had already claimed every group that tried to cross it. The survivors split to tackle different environments. One lineage tracked along the southern coastlines, eventually reaching Australia by 65,000 years ago. The northern faction pushed in a different direction. By 45,000 years ago, they moved directly into the hostile cold of Europe. Survival in these temperatures depended on tools that were unnecessary in the tropics. They used bone needles to fashion tailored, multi-layered clothing and intensified their use of fire for warmth and cooking. They also produced the first known musical instruments, like these 40,000-year-old bone flutes, likely using them to maintain the social cohesion required to survive months in cave shelters. But they weren't alone in this landscape. They encountered other hominins, like the Neanderthals and Denisovans, species that had lived in and adapted to the extreme cold for hundreds of thousands of years. The groups interacted and interbred, sharing genetic material that still exists in modern populations. Yet, as the climate wildly fluctuated, Homo sapiens proved more resilient, out-foraging and out-organizing their physically heavier cousins. Through a combination of rapid cultural innovation and genetic hybridization, humans survived a deep freeze that systematically erased their physically stronger evolutionary relatives. By 21,000 years ago, the last ice age hit its peak. Massive glaciers buried North America, pressing as far south as modern-day Ohio. As glaciers grew, they trapped massive amounts of Earth's water, causing global sea levels to drop. That drop revealed Beringia, a land bridge connecting Asia to North America. Humans utilized this crossing 21,000 years ago, entering a continent entirely new to our species. From that Arctic entry point, the expansion was relentless. They pushed through the tundra, navigated entirely new ecosystems, and eventually populated the heights of the Andes and the coastlines of South America. By reaching the tip of South America, Homo sapiens became the first and only primate to span the entire globe. From Arctic tundra to tropical rainforest, they had proven they could inhabit any ice-free environment the planet had to offer. Roughly 12,000 years ago, the deep freeze finally ended. The glaciers retreated, global temperatures rose, and the Holocene epoch began. As this map illustrates, by the time the climate stabilized, the dispersal was complete. Humans had colonized nearly every ice-free patch of land on the planet. But this rapid expansion had consequences. Our dominance of these new territories coincided with the Quaternary extinction event. Caught between the shock of a warming climate and the pressure of coordinated human hunting parties, dozens of large animal species were wiped out, alongside the last remaining pockets of rival human species. Over 50,000 years, a vulnerable species of African primate navigated a grueling environmental gauntlet. They emerged on the other side as the dominant ecological force on Earth.